The Wisdom Wallet, Financial Intelligence from the Book of Proverbs. Written and published by Global Christian Family. Chapter 1. The Divine Source of Wealth. We live in a world obsessed with money, yet confused about wealth. Many pursue income but neglect wisdom. They chase opportunity but ignore character. They build portfolios but forget foundations. And when storms come, economic downturns, business collapse, personal crisis, the structure shakes because it was built on sand. The Book of Proverbs opens with a statement that immediately reorders our priorities. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Proverbs 1:7. Not capital, not connections, not credentials. The beginning is reverence for God. Wealth begins with alignment. True financial intelligence does not begin in the marketplace. It begins in the heart. King Solomon, the primary voice behind the Book of Proverbs, was not merely wealthy, he was wise, and his wealth flowed from divine alignment. Before he became known for gold, influence, and international trade, he asked God for understanding. When given the opportunity to request anything, Solomon chose wisdom over riches, and wealth followed wisdom. This establishes a spiritual law. When you pursue God's wisdom first, provision follows purpose. Financial prosperity detached from divine alignment leads to anxiety, pride, and instability. But prosperity rooted in wisdom produces peace, stewardship, and sustainability. The fear of the Lord, what it truly means. The fear of the Lord is not terror, it is reverent alignment. It means honoring God above profit, choosing integrity over shortcuts, valuing character over cash, seeking divine direction before financial decisions. When reverence governs your wallet, your money becomes a tool, not a master. Proverbs later declares, "The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it." Proverbs 10:22. There is a kind of wealth that brings stress. There is a kind that brings scandal. There is a kind that destroys families. But there is also a wealth that carries no hidden curse, wealth empowered by divine blessing. The difference between rich and blessed. The world defines wealth by accumulation. Proverbs defines wealth by harmony. You can have money and lack peace. You can have assets and lack honor. You can have influence and lack fulfillment. But when wealth flows from divine wisdom, it integrates spiritual health, emotional balance, moral strength, financial growth. This is what we may call whole prosperity. Solomon's writings consistently show that righteousness stabilizes wealth, while wickedness destabilizes it. Money amplifies who you already are. Without wisdom, it magnifies flaws. With wisdom, it multiplies impact. Foundation determines capacity. A skyscraper's height is determined by its foundation depth. If your financial structure rises higher than your spiritual foundation, collapse becomes inevitable. The divine source of wealth teaches us that 1. God is the owner, we are stewards. 2. Wealth is a tool, not an identity. 3. Prosperity must serve purpose. 4. Financial increase must never replace spiritual dependence. When you recognize God as the ultimate source, gratitude replaces greed, stewardship replaces selfishness, and generosity becomes natural rather than forced. Seeking first what matters most. Financial intelligence without spiritual intelligence is incomplete. The wisdom of Proverbs invites us to begin differently. Seek wisdom before wages. Seek character before contracts. Seek divine counsel before investments. When you build your financial life on reverence for God, you are not merely earning, you are partnering. And partnership with God produces stability in unstable times. Closing reflection. 1. Is my pursuit of money aligned with my spiritual values? 2. Do I consult God in major financial decisions? 3. Is my wealth serving purpose or replacing it? 4. Am I building income or am I building legacy? Closing thought. Before God expands your income, He shapes your heart. Before He entrusts you with abundance, He tests your alignment. The divine source of wealth is not found in the stock market, a salary, or a business contract. It is found in reverence. And when reverence leads, prosperity follows. Chapter 2. Wisdom, the principal asset. In the marketplace of life, many people chase money. Few pursue wisdom. Money can be earned, lost, regained, multiplied, or mismanaged. Wisdom, however, determines what happens to money once it enters your hands. The Book of Proverbs makes a bold declaration. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and in all you're getting, get understanding. Proverbs 4:7. Not silver, not gold, not property. Wisdom. The difference between money and financial intelligence. Money is a resource. Wisdom is the ability to manage, multiply, and protect that resource. Two people can earn the same income. One builds wealth. The other builds debt. The difference is not salary, it is insight. King Solomon understood this truth deeply. His reign was marked not merely by abundance, but by strategic judgment, discernment, and foresight. Wealth followed his wisdom because wisdom positioned him correctly. Proverbs 3:13-16 says, Happy is the man who finds wisdom, for her proceeds are better than the profits of silver, and her gain than fine gold. Wisdom produces returns that outlast currency. Wisdom as a wealth multiplier. If you give a foolish person $1 million, poverty may eventually return. If you give a wise person modest resources, increase is almost inevitable. Wisdom detects opportunities others overlook, avoids traps disguised as shortcuts, balances risk with prudence, knows when to act and when to wait. It is possible to inherit money without inheriting wisdom, and without wisdom, wealth leaks. But when wisdom governs your wallet, money becomes a servant that works for you rather than a master that controls you. Understanding, the companion of wisdom. Proverbs does not stop at get wisdom. It adds, in all you're getting, get understanding. Understanding is applied wisdom. It is one thing to know a principle. It is another thing to implement it consistently. Many people know they should save, budget, avoid destructive debt, invest patiently. Yet knowledge without discipline produces no transformation. Understanding turns principles into patterns. Why wisdom is better than gold. Gold can be stolen. Markets can crash. Businesses can fail. But wisdom remains portable. Even if wealth disappears, wisdom can rebuild it. This is why Proverbs 8:11 declares, For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things one may desire cannot be compared with her. Notice the comparison, not some things, all things. Why? Because wisdom governs all things. Money answers certain problems. Wisdom answers life. The anatomy of financial wisdom. What does wisdom look like in practical financial life? 1. Discernment. Not every opportunity is divine. 2. Patience. Sustainable growth beats rushed profit. 3. Integrity. Reputation compounds faster than interest. 4. Foresight. Preparing for seasons before they arrive. 5. Contentment. Refusing to compare your journey with others. These are invisible assets, yet they produce visible results. Investing in the invisible. The modern world teaches us to invest in stocks, real estate, businesses, digital assets. Proverbs teaches us first to invest in character. When character appreciates, wealth becomes sustainable. A wise person does not merely ask, How much can I make? They ask, who am I becoming in the process? Because the wrong character with the right income is a disaster waiting to happen. Wisdom protects as well as produces. Proverbs repeatedly shows that wisdom does not only create wealth, it protects it. Many rise quickly and fall suddenly, but wisdom builds slowly and endures. Financial intelligence from Proverbs emphasizes avoiding impulsive decisions, seeking counsel before major commitments, measuring long-term consequences. The wise are not merely reactive, they are intentional. Reflection questions. 1. Am I investing more in income or in wisdom? 2. Do I seek counsel before major financial decisions? 3. Have I confused earning power with financial intelligence? 4. What habits in my life reflect wisdom or reveal its absence? Closing insight. Your greatest asset is not your bank balance. It is your mind governed by wisdom. Money can open doors. Wisdom tells you which doors to enter. Money can create influence. Wisdom ensures that influence is preserved. If you pursue wisdom relentlessly, wealth becomes a byproduct. And when wisdom is the principal asset in your wallet, prosperity becomes sustainable, honorable, and purposeful. Chapter 3. Diligence versus laziness, the wealth divider. There is a silent force that separates the wealthy from the struggling, the builders from the dreamers, the achievers from the excuse makers. It is not luck. It is not background. It is not even opportunity. It is diligence. The Book of Proverbs speaks with striking clarity. He who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. Proverbs 10:4. Notice the contrast. Not talent versus talent. Not education versus ignorance. But slackness versus diligence. The law of consistent effort. Diligence is sustained, disciplined effort applied over time. It is not excitement. It is not motivation. It is not bursts of inspiration. It is consistency. Proverbs 21:5 adds, the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. Haste seeks shortcuts. Diligence respects process. One wants quick profit. The other builds permanent value. In the wisdom economy of Scripture, process matters more than pace. The ant, a model of financial intelligence. Proverbs 6:6-8 gives us one of the most powerful wealth lessons in nature. Go to the ant, you sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. The ant has no supervisor, no manager, no external pressure. Yet it works diligently, stores provision in harvest, and prepares for seasons ahead. This is proactive discipline. The ant does not wait for crisis before acting. It does not complain about conditions. It does not postpone preparation. It works. Financial intelligence requires this same foresight. Saving before emergencies. Building skills before opportunities. Preparing systems before expansion. Laziness is more than inactivity. Laziness is not merely sleeping too long. It is procrastination, excuse-making, avoiding responsibility, starting without finishing, talking more than doing. Proverbs 24:30-34 paints a vivid picture of a neglected vineyard, overgrown with thorns, walls broken down. The owner did not necessarily commit a crime. He simply neglected discipline. Neglect silently destroys wealth. You do not have to be wicked to become poor. You only need to be careless. Diligence in skill development. In Proverbs 22:29 we read, do you see a man who excels in his work? He will stand before kings. Excellence attracts elevation. Diligence sharpens skills. Skill creates value. Value generates income. Many pray for financial increase while resisting professional growth. Yet Proverbs shows that mastery invites promotion. If you want your wallet to expand your competence. The compound effect of discipline. Small daily actions produce massive long-term outcomes. Saving a little consistently builds security. Improving skills daily builds authority. Showing up faithfully builds reputation. Diligence compounds like interest. Laziness compounds too, but in reverse. Missed deadlines become lost trust. Lost trust becomes lost opportunities. Lost opportunities become financial stagnation. The spiritual dimension of work. Work is not a curse, it is a calling. Diligence honors God because it reflects His nature. God is intentional, consistent, purposeful. When we work diligently, we reflect divine order. Sloth, on the other hand, dishonors potential. The wise understand that their work is stewardship, their effort is worship, their discipline is devotion. The wealth divider. Two individuals may start in the same place. Same education. Same salary. Same opportunity. 10 years later, their lives look completely different. Why? One practiced disciplined saving, learning, investing, and improving. The other postponed, excused, delayed, and drifted. Diligence is the quiet divider. Signs you are cultivating diligence. You finish what you start. You plan before you spend. You prepare before opportunity knocks. You improve your skills consistently. You embrace responsibility without complaint. These habits may seem small, but they produce large results. Closing reflection. 1. Where in my financial life am I procrastinating? 2. Do I rely more on hope than on disciplined action? 3. What skill can I improve daily that will increase my income? 4. Am I preparing for future seasons or reacting to present pressure? Closing insight. Wealth is rarely accidental. It is usually the result of repeated, disciplined choices made quietly over time. Diligence builds. Laziness erodes. One leads to abundance. The other leads to regret. Your financial future is not determined by what you desire, but by what you consistently do. And in the wisdom of Proverbs, the hand of the diligent does not merely survive. It prospers. Chapter 4. The Power of Strategic Planning. Many people desire abundance. Few design for it. In the wisdom literature of Scripture, prosperity is not accidental, it is intentional. The Book of Proverbs repeatedly emphasizes foresight, structure, and deliberate preparation. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance. But everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. Proverbs 21:5. Abundance follows planning. Poverty often follows impulsiveness. Strategic planning is not a lack of faith, it is an expression of wisdom. Vision without structure is a dream. It is easy to declare, "I will be wealthy." It is harder to outline how much you need, how you will earn it, how you will manage it, how you will multiply it, how you will protect it. Proverbs teaches that desire alone is insufficient. Direction is required. King Solomon did not merely inherit wealth, he governed with order. His administration involved systems, organization, trade routes, resource management, and diplomatic alliances. Prosperity expanded because structure supported it. Planning creates capacity for increase. The danger of haste. Proverbs contrasts planning with haste. Haste is emotionally driven decision-making. Impulse spending. Rushed investments. Entering partnerships without due diligence. Expanding beyond capacity. Haste often disguises itself as boldness, but wisdom distinguishes courage from recklessness. Strategic planning asks, what are the long-term consequences? What risks are involved? What safeguards are in place? What is my exit strategy? The wise count the cost before they commit. Budgeting, a spiritual discipline. Many view budgeting as restrictive. In truth, it is liberating. A budget is simply a written plan for your money. Without a plan, money flows toward impulse. With a plan, money flows toward purpose. Proverbs 27:23 advises, "Be diligent to know the state of your flocks and attend to your herds." In ancient times, livestock represented wealth. Today, your flocks may be bank accounts, investments, business revenue, assets. To ignore the condition of your resources is to invite loss. Financial awareness is wisdom in action. Planning for seasons. Proverbs repeatedly emphasizes preparation for changing seasons. Life moves in cycles. Harvest and drought. Expansion and contraction. Opportunity and testing. Strategic planning acknowledges that abundance today does not eliminate responsibility tomorrow. The wise save during surplus. Diversify income streams. Prepare for unexpected disruptions. Avoid building lifestyles that collapse under pressure. Planning reduces vulnerability. Writing the vision. A strategic financial life requires clarity. What are your goals? Short-term 1 year. Mid-term 5 years. Long-term 10+ years. Without defined targets, progress cannot be measured. Planning transforms vague hopes into measurable objectives. It answers, how much do I want to save? What debt must I eliminate? What investment strategy aligns with my risk tolerance? What legacy do I intend to leave? When vision is written, action becomes intentional. Counsel strengthens strategy. Proverbs 20:18 declares, "Plans are established by counsel. By wise counsel wage war." Strategic planning does not mean isolation. Financial wisdom invites mentorship, professional advice, accountability, collective insight. Even the most intelligent individual benefits from perspective. Humility protects strategy. Strategy protects peace. Many financial crises are not caused by lack of income, but by lack of planning. Unexpected expenses feel catastrophic when no reserves exist. Opportunities feel overwhelming when no structure exists. But when you plan, emergencies become manageable. Growth becomes sustainable. Expansion becomes controlled. Strategic planning converts chaos into clarity. Closing reflection. 1. Do I have a written financial plan? 2. Am I making decisions emotionally or strategically? 3. Have I prepared for economic downturns? 4. Do I seek counsel before major financial moves? Closing insight. Hope is not a strategy. Emotion is not a system. Desire is not a blueprint. Wealth that endures is designed before it is displayed. The power of strategic planning lies in its ability to transform intention into structure, and structure into abundance. When diligence meets direction, prosperity becomes predictable. And in the wisdom of Proverbs, abundance is rarely accidental, it is planned. Chapter 5: Integrity, the currency that never devalues. The wealth that outlives money. In every financial system, currencies fluctuate. Markets rise and fall. Inflation erodes value. Economies shift. But there is one currency that never devalues: integrity. The Book of Proverbs speaks with unusual precision about honesty in financial dealings. A false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. Proverbs 11:1. In ancient marketplaces, merchants used scales to measure goods. A dishonest merchant could secretly adjust the weight to gain more profit. God calls this an abomination. Why? Because wealth gained through deception corrodes the soul and eventually collapses. Integrity is invisible capital. Integrity does not show up on a balance sheet. You cannot deposit it in a bank. You cannot count it in cash. Yet it determines who trusts you, who partners with you, who recommends you, who invests in you. A person may accumulate money through manipulation, but they cannot sustain influence without character. Proverbs 20:23 reinforces the warning. Unequal weights are an abomination to the Lord, and false scales are not good. God measures more than profit margins. He measures motives. Short-term gain versus long-term legacy. Dishonesty often promises quick returns. Cutting ethical corners. Hiding information. Breaking agreements. Exploiting loopholes. But Proverbs 13:11 declares, wealth gained by dishonesty will be diminished, but he who gathers by labor will increase. Unethical wealth leaks. It may look impressive temporarily, but it carries instability within it. Integrity builds slowly, but it builds permanently. Reputation, the silent multiplier. Proverbs 22:1 states, a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. This is not poetic exaggeration, it is financial strategy. A good name attracts opportunities, reduces suspicion, lowers resistance, builds influence. In business and leadership, trust is more valuable than marketing. King Solomon understood this principle deeply. His wisdom and reputation attracted leaders from distant lands. Influence expanded because credibility preceded it. Your name can open doors that money alone cannot. Integrity in private determines prosperity in public. Integrity is tested when no one is watching. How you handle small amounts. How you report expenses. How you treat employees. How you honor agreements. Financial intelligence from Proverbs teaches that God observes private stewardship before entrusting public abundance. If integrity fails in small matters, expansion becomes dangerous. The hidden cost of dishonesty. Unethical gain always carries hidden consequences. Anxiety about exposure. Broken relationships. Legal consequences. Spiritual disconnection. There is a kind of wealth that adds sorrow. But Proverbs 10:22 reminds us, the blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. Integrity invites blessing without hidden burden. Integrity as a competitive advantage. In a world where compromise is common, integrity becomes rare, and rarity creates value. When people know your word is reliable, your contracts are honored, your dealings are transparent, you become trustworthy capital. Opportunities flow toward stability. Investors prefer security. Clients prefer honesty. Partners prefer predictability. Integrity reduces friction in every financial transaction. Financial systems built on truth. Practical applications of integrity include transparent accounting, accurate reporting, fair pricing, honoring commitments, paying debts responsibly, refusing bribery or manipulation. These practices may seem simple, but they build empires that endure. Closing reflection. 1. Are my financial practices fully transparent? 2. Would I be comfortable if every transaction were publicly examined? 3. Is short-term profit tempting me toward long-term damage? 4. What reputation am I building through my financial behavior? Closing insight. Money may increase and decrease. Markets may fluctuate. Opportunities may change. But integrity compounds. It builds trust. Trust builds influence. Influence builds sustainable wealth. In the wisdom of Proverbs, riches without righteousness are fragile. But integrity is a currency that never devalues. And when your wallet is backed by character, your prosperity becomes secure. Chapter 6. The Wisdom of Saving and Storing. One of the greatest illusions in financial life is the belief that today's income guarantees tomorrow's security. Prosperity feels permanent until it shifts. The Book of Proverbs speaks clearly about preparation. Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise, which having no captain, overseer, or ruler, provides her supplies in the summer and gathers her food in the harvest. Proverbs 6, 6-8. The ant saves, not because it fears the future, but because it understands seasons. Understanding financial seasons. Life operates in cycles. Growth and contraction. Opportunity and limitation. Surplus and scarcity. Wisdom recognizes that abundance today must be managed with tomorrow in mind. The foolish consume everything in harvest. The wise store for winter. Saving is not pessimism. It is foresight. The discipline of delayed gratification. Saving requires restraint. It demands that you resist the urge to spend everything you earn. It challenges the culture of instant consumption. Proverbs 21:20 declares, "There is desirable treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man squanders it." Notice the distinction. The wise have reserves. The foolish exhaust resources. Financial intelligence from Proverbs teaches that accumulation is not greed when it is guided by purpose and stewardship. Why saving is a form of wisdom. Saving accomplishes several critical purposes. 1. Protection. It shields you from unexpected crises. 2. Stability. It reduces anxiety during economic uncertainty. 3. Opportunity. It positions you to invest when others are desperate. 4. Independence. It decreases reliance on debt. Without savings, every emergency becomes a catastrophe. With savings, disruption becomes manageable. The ant strategy, consistency over intensity. The ant does not gather everything in one dramatic moment. It collects steadily. Saving works the same way. Small amounts set aside consistently. Gradual accumulation over time. Compounding growth through discipline. Many people avoid saving because they believe their income is too small, but Proverbs emphasizes consistency, not size. It is not how much you begin with, it is how faithfully you set aside. The danger of lifestyle expansion. One of the greatest enemies of saving is lifestyle inflation. As income increases, expenses often increase with it. A higher salary invites higher spending. A better season invites greater indulgence. Without discipline, surplus disappears. Wisdom asks, can I maintain a lifestyle below my means? Can I separate needs from wants? Can I increase savings as income increases? Self-control protects surplus. Emergency funds and financial buffers. Proverbs teaches preparation because uncertainty is inevitable. Illness, economic downturns, business disruptions, unexpected expenses. Saving creates a buffer between crisis and collapse. A financial cushion. Reduces panic. Prevents destructive borrowing. Preserves dignity. It transforms vulnerability into resilience. Storing without hoarding. There is a difference between wise saving and fearful hoarding. Saving is strategic. Hoarding is driven by anxiety. The wise store with purpose. For future responsibilities. For investment. For family security. For generosity. Saving should serve vision, not replace faith. Wealth preservation is as important as wealth creation. Many learn how to earn. few learn how to preserve. Income generation without storage leads to instability. Saving protects what earning produces. In the wisdom tradition, accumulation without purpose is foolish, but consumption without restraint is equally destructive. Balance is key. Closing reflection. 1. Do I consistently set aside a portion of my income? 2. Am I prepared for unexpected financial disruption? 3. Has lifestyle expansion reduced my ability to save? 4. Am I storing with purpose or spending without thought? Closing insight. The future is not controlled, but it can be prepared for. The wise do not wait for crisis before acting. They build reserves before storms arrive. Saving is not an act of fear. It is an act of wisdom. And in the economy of Proverbs, the person who stores in harvest will stand steady in winter. Your security tomorrow depends on your discipline today. Chapter 7. The Generosity Principle. In the natural world, accumulation increases possession. But in the wisdom economy of Proverbs, generosity increases provision. This appears paradoxical, yet it is one of the most powerful financial principles in Scripture. There is one who scatters yet increases more, and there is one who withholds more than is right, but it leads to poverty. Proverbs 11:24. Scattering increases. Withholding diminishes. The wisdom wallet teaches that money flows differently when guided by divine principles. The law of refreshing. Proverbs 11:25 continues. The generous soul will be made rich, and he who waters will also be watered himself. Generosity is not loss, it is circulation. Just as water must flow to remain fresh, wealth must circulate to remain healthy. When resources move outward with purpose, they often return with increase. This is not manipulation. It is alignment with divine order. Giving shifts the heart from scarcity to abundance. Generosity as a reflection of trust. Hoarding often reveals fear. Fear of lack. Fear of future uncertainty. Fear of losing control. But generosity reflects confidence, not merely in income but in God as source. When you give wisely, you declare, "My security does not rest in accumulation alone." King Solomon repeatedly linked prosperity with righteousness and compassion. Wealth without generosity was considered incomplete. The difference between reckless giving and wise giving. The generosity principle does not promote irresponsibility. Proverbs consistently supports planning, saving, discernment. Generosity must flow from wisdom, not pressure. Wise giving considers impact, timing, stewardship, sustainability. It is possible to give emotionally and create imbalance. It is wiser to give strategically and create multiplication. Why generosity attracts increase. Generosity builds invisible assets. 1. Reputation. People trust and respect generous leaders. 2. Relationships. Giving strengthens bonds. 3. Influence. Those who uplift others gain loyalty. 4. Divine favor. Scripture consistently links compassion with blessing. When generosity becomes a pattern, opportunities often follow. Not always immediately. Not always predictably. But consistently over time. Breaking the poverty mindset. A poverty mindset says, "If I give, I will have less." A wisdom mindset says, "If I give wisely, I participate in a greater cycle." Generosity dismantles greed. It frees the heart from being owned by money. The truly wealthy are not those who cannot give, but those who choose to give without fear. Giving as investment in eternity. Proverbs emphasizes justice, kindness, and care for the poor. Financial intelligence from Scripture includes social responsibility. When you give, You invest in people. You strengthen communities. You align with divine compassion. Money stored only for self may secure comfort. Money used for impact creates legacy. The balance of generosity and stewardship. The wisdom wallet balances 3 dimensions. 1. Earning, creating value. 2. Saving, preserving value. 3. Giving, circulating value. When these 3 operate together, financial life becomes healthy. Too much saving without giving creates rigidity. Too much giving without saving creates instability. Too much earning without purpose creates emptiness. Harmony produces prosperity. Closing reflection. 1. Do I give consistently or only when convenient? 2. Is fear limiting my generosity? 3. Am I giving wisely and strategically? 4. Does my financial life reflect compassion as well as ambition? Closing insight. Wealth that only flows inward eventually stagnates. But wealth that flows outward with wisdom often returns with increase. Generosity is not merely charity. It is financial intelligence rooted in divine design. In the economy of Proverbs, the open hand is rarely empty for long. And when generosity governs your wallet, prosperity becomes purposeful, relational, and blessed. Chapter 8. Avoiding the debt trap. Debt is one of the most subtle threats to financial freedom. It rarely begins as a crisis. It begins as convenience. A small loan. An easy payment plan. A postponed obligation. But the Book of Proverbs speaks with sober clarity. The rich rules over the poor and the borrower is servant to the lender. Proverbs 22:7. Debt creates hierarchy. It shifts power. It reduces freedom. The wisdom wallet teaches that financial intelligence includes protecting independence. The psychology of borrowing. Debt often promises immediate access, temporary relief, accelerated lifestyle. But beneath the surface, it carries long-term consequences. Interest accumulation, emotional pressure, reduced flexibility, limited opportunity. Borrowing can feel empowering in the moment, but over time, it can quietly restrict movement. Freedom is one of wealth's greatest benefits. Debt compromises it. When debt becomes a master. Servanthood in Proverbs 22:7 is not symbolic, it reflects control. When obligations consume income, choices shrink, stress increases, long-term goals are delayed. Debt can dictate career decisions, limit generosity, and prevent investment. Financial intelligence asks not only, can I afford the payment, but what will this obligation cost me in freedom? The snare of co-signing. Proverbs repeatedly warns against guaranteeing another person's debt. He who is surety for a stranger will suffer, but one who hates being surety is secure. Proverbs 11:15. Co-signing may appear generous, but it transfers risk without control. Wisdom requires discernment. Compassion does not eliminate caution. Helping others should not destroy your own stability. The difference between strategic leverage and destructive debt. Not all debt is identical. There is a difference between consumption debt, lifestyle upgrades, impulsive purchases. Investment leverage used wisely, with clear repayment strategy. Proverbs does not condemn responsibility, it condemns recklessness. Strategic decisions must consider clear repayment plans, risk tolerance, market realities, personal discipline. If borrowed money funds ego rather than value, it becomes dangerous. Escaping the debt cycle. Freedom requires intentional steps. 1. Acknowledge the full amount owed. 2. Create a structured repayment plan. 3. Prioritize high-interest obligations. 4. Avoid accumulating new unnecessary debt. 5. Adopt disciplined spending habits. Avoidance prolongs bondage. Confrontation restores control. The wise act swiftly when trapped. Contentment as protection. Many debt traps are fueled by comparison. Keeping up with peers. Matching social expectations. Displaying status. Proverbs consistently elevates contentment. Better is a little with righteousness than vast revenues without justice. Proverbs 16:8. True wealth is not measured by appearance, but by stability. Contentment shields against unnecessary borrowing. Freedom is a form of wealth. A debt-free life may not appear glamorous, but it is powerful. Freedom allows career flexibility, investment opportunity, generous giving, peace of mind. Financial peace often matters more than financial display. King Solomon repeatedly emphasized prudence over impulse. Wisdom avoids traps before they tighten. Closing reflection. 1. Is debt limiting my financial freedom? 2. Have I borrowed for necessity or for image? 3. Do I understand the true cost of interest over time? 4. What steps can I take today toward financial independence? Closing insight. Debt is easy to enter and difficult to escape. The wisdom wallet teaches caution before commitment. Borrowing may offer speed, but wisdom values sustainability. Freedom is one of wealth's greatest rewards. And in the economy of Proverbs, the wise guard their independence as carefully as their income. Chapter 9. Guarding against get-rich-quick schemes. The promise of instant wealth is one of the most powerful temptations in financial life. It whispers overnight success, guaranteed returns, limited time opportunity, secret strategy the wealthy don't want you to know. But the Book of Proverbs speaks directly against this illusion. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Proverbs 13:11. Haste reduces. Patience multiplies. The wisdom wallet rejects shortcuts that bypass character, discipline, and process. The psychology of quick riches. Get-rich-quick schemes appeal to impatience. They promise escape from struggle, status without sacrifice, income without structure, reward without refinement. But Proverbs consistently teaches that sustainable wealth is built gradually. When money arrives faster than maturity, instability follows. The seduction of easy profit. Proverbs also warns against dishonest gain. An inheritance gained hastily at the beginning will not be blessed at the end. Proverbs 20:21. Anything acquired without proper process often lacks foundation. Quick wealth can distort priorities, inflate ego, invite reckless spending, attract destructive relationships. Process prepares character for prosperity. Why gradual growth is safer. Gradual accumulation allows skill development, risk assessment, emotional discipline, strategic reinvestment. Little by little, confidence grows with competence. Sudden wealth without wisdom is like placing heavy weight on a weak structure. It collapses under pressure. Recognizing red flags. Financial intelligence requires discernment. Warning signs of dangerous schemes often include promises of guaranteed high returns, pressure to act immediately, lack of transparency, complex structures that are difficult to explain, dependency on recruiting others for profit. Wisdom pauses before participating. If an opportunity sounds too good to be true, it often is. The discipline of patience. Patience is a financial superpower. Proverbs elevates self-control repeatedly. Impulse destroys, restraint protects. King Solomon observed human behavior carefully. He understood that impatience leads many into traps that diligence would have avoided. True wealth respects timing. The farmer does not harvest the day after planting. Growth requires season. The role of hard work. Proverbs never disconnects wealth from effort. While opportunities may accelerate growth, labor builds stability. Hard work develops competence, builds resilience, strengthens judgment, deepens gratitude. When income results from consistent effort, it is valued differently than sudden windfalls. Protecting your reputation. Get-rich-quick ventures often risk more than money. They risk reputation. Association with unstable schemes can damage credibility permanently. A good name, as Proverbs teaches, is more valuable than riches. Protect your integrity even more fiercely than your capital. Sustainable wealth strategy. The Wisdom Wallet encourages 1. Diversified income streams. 2. Long-term investing. 3. Skill development. 4. Measured risk-taking. 5. Continuous learning. This may not sound dramatic, but it is dependable. Excitement builds hype. Consistency builds wealth. Closing reflection. 1. Have I ever pursued an opportunity primarily because it promised speed? 2. Do I value process, or do I resent it? 3. Am I building skills alongside income? 4. Would this opportunity still appeal to me if it required patience? Closing insight. Quick money often disappears quickly, but wealth built with wisdom endures. The temptation of haste is powerful, but the reward of patience is greater. In the economy of Proverbs, prosperity is not an event. It is a disciplined journey. And those who gather little by little rarely watch their wealth disappear. Chapter 10. Wealth and Character. Why who you are determines what you keep. Money does not change character, it reveals it. When wealth increases, hidden traits often surface. Patience or impatience. Generosity or greed. Humility or pride. Discipline or recklessness. The Book of Proverbs consistently teaches that prosperity and character cannot be separated. Better is a little with righteousness than vast revenues without justice. Proverbs 16:8. This is one of the clearest financial intelligence principles in Scripture. Character is more important than accumulation. Character determines wealth stability. Many people focus on earning more money, but Proverbs focuses on becoming a better person financially before becoming a richer person financially. King Solomon repeatedly linked wealth with moral and spiritual alignment. His writings show that prosperity without righteousness becomes unstable. Money can expand influence. Character determines whether that influence becomes blessing or destruction. Why wealth tests character. Financial increase introduces new pressures. Decision-making under influence. Managing people and resources. Handling power and recognition. Facing temptation toward excess. Proverbs 28:6 declares, "Better is the poor who walks in his integrity than one perverse in his ways, though he be rich." Integrity protects destiny more than money protects comfort. Pride, the silent destroyer of wealth. One of the greatest dangers of financial success is pride. Proverbs repeatedly warns, "Pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall." Proverbs 16:18. Pride can appear in subtle ways. Believing success is purely self-created. Looking down on others. Refusing counsel. Spending to prove superiority. The wise remember that prosperity is not only a result of effort, but also of opportunity, timing, and grace. Wealth without wisdom creates chaos. When money grows faster than maturity, relationships suffer. Spending becomes uncontrolled. Risk-taking becomes reckless. decision-making becomes emotional. Character growth must accompany financial growth. The best financial strategy is not just to grow income, but to grow the person who manages it. The reputation economy. Proverbs 22:1 teaches, "A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches." In modern financial life, reputation functions like capital. Trust generates business partnerships, investment opportunities, leadership influence, long-term contracts. A damaged reputation is expensive to rebuild. Character is long-term financial insurance. Contentment and ambition in balance. Proverbs does not discourage ambition, it discourages greed. Healthy ambition says, "I want to grow." Greed says, "I must have more at any cost." Contentment protects emotional and financial health. Ambition drives progress. Character controls ambition. Ethical wealth creation. Financial intelligence from Proverbs emphasizes righteous methods of wealth creation. Honest labor. Fair business practices. Just pricing. Compassion toward employees and communities. Wealth created through injustice often carries instability. Ethical wealth tends to last longer across generations. Character determines wealth legacy. The goal is not only to become wealthy. The goal is to build wealth that survives you. Without character, inheritance can be destroyed quickly. Family conflicts may arise. Future generations may lose what was built. Character builds generational wealth structures. Final reflection. 1. Has financial success improved my character? 2. Do I handle money with humility? 3. Would people trust me with large resources? 4. Am I building wealth that can outlive me? Final insight. Money is powerful, but character is stronger. Income can give you influence. Character determines whether that influence becomes blessing or burden. In the wisdom wallet, wealth is not only measured by what you earn. It is measured by who you become while earning it. And in the wisdom of Proverbs, true prosperity is wealth guided by righteousness, humility, and wisdom.